I didn't see how it was possible for my husband to continue working at the pace that he is. He's in a very demanding physical job, and it was really taking a toll on him.
Welcome to another episode of Mortgage Mastery with host TR McCarthy. I am TR McCarthy, mortgage broker for Sceptre Mortgage. How are you doing today? Today, I want to have you listen to a true testimonial from one of our past clients, Miss Christy Sinlao. And I want you to listen to how a reverse mortgage, yes, I said it, reverse mortgage, helped her and her husband secure their financial future. If you don't believe me, listen to Miss Sinlao and let's talk about it in the discussion below. Help me bring on Christy. How you doing, Christy?
Hi, how are you, TR?
First of, I'm doing wonderful. First of all, again, I always want to say thank you for taking the time to come by and give a testimonial for us.
Yes.
We've talked quite a few times actually, and your story is amazing. You and your husband, definitely amazing. Do you mind kind of giving us the background between you and your husband and why you decided to go with the reverse mortgage?
Oh, of course. No, I don't mind at all. Um,
Wonderful.
this is something that I have been thinking about for a few years now. I saw that actually what happened, I guess it was the beginning of the pandemic, we were able to defer our mortgage payments for about a year. And when that was done, our the year of mortgage payments that we did not make were placed on the back of our loan. And it was at that time that I saw that we still had a number of years to go to pay off this mortgage. So my husband and I no, we knew that we did not want to move from our home. We've been here over 20 years and we've invested a lot in our home. So reverse mortgage was on my mind, but my husband was very resistant. And so I had to think on this for a while. I spoke to my dad. My dad has had a reverse mortgage. Actually, he's had two. And he felt that I should really go for it. He says, if you don't want to move, you know this is where you want to be, then go for that. And convincing my husband was the next step. Yes, so that was part of our process. So I approached this subject to my husband. He did not care for it. What he told me was that I could just keep working. My husband will be 65, ready to retire at the end of this year on his birthday. And for the amount of years that we still need to pay our mortgage, was actually we're about 12 years, 12 more years. I didn't see how it was possible for my husband to continue working at the pace that he is. He's in a very demanding physical job, and it was really taking a toll on him. And I was very concerned about that. So I decided I'm just going to go ahead and reach out. What I told him is that, okay, you don't have to agree to this. Let me at least reach out, find a broker, and we'll take it from there. I spoke to a couple of brokers, and then I actually had intended on going back to one of them. But when I spoke with Linnell, that changed everything. As a matter of fact, I remember something she said that made me feel very welcoming of what she was going to do for us. And I can hear the experience in her voice and what she was saying to me. One of the things that she said when I told her I was very nervous about doing a reverse mortgage, because I've heard all types of stories, seniors getting scammed, just different things that I've heard of that you won't own your home anymore, all these different things which for one thing I know this is not true. You still hold title to your home. But what she told me that made me feel good was that she said, I don't know why you're concerned because you will never, ever have to pay another mortgage payment. And that is what solidified it for me. Also, she just started taking down information and she said, "I would love to help you." And during the course of our conversation, and she's asking me questions, I thought, wait, hold on. I'm not sure if I'm ready to commit yet because I'm thinking in my mind, I already told another broker that I might go with them. So I put it on hold for a moment. I thought, I prayed, and I came back on. I said, okay, let's go with this. I feel good about you. And yeah.
First of all, I'm so grateful that you allowed us to assist you in this process. Okay. I am. We don't ever poach other people's clients, but I'm so glad that you chose us. And
Yeah.
Linnell, as you know, shout out to Linnell. She is a great mortgage loan officer. Okay. As you already know,
Yeah.
she's very detail oriented. She's very enthusiastic, and we're lucky to have her as a part of our team. And you see what I see every day. Okay.
Yes.
But when she brought you to the table, again, I look at every file that comes through. I really do. And some I spend more time on than others. But yours was one of those cases that I really truly took interest in. She said, listen, she wants to help her husband retire. And I'm a numbers guy. Okay. I've been doing this for 22 years. I'm an underwriter. I've done it all in the business. And when I looked at the numbers, I'm like, oh my gosh, we had to get this man retired. And the only way to do that I saw was this, because I was looking at all the other options. I said, they only have one option. It's either going to be a HECM reverse or a choice reverse, whichever one's going to allow us to do this. And I went
Yeah.
to work, and Linnell was right there. And once we saw what we can do, and I think we talked over the phone somewhere early in the process, and I said, we can do this. And you were saying, I'm not sure about that. And then something happened to where it made it even more worthwhile. We got you more money.
That's what I remember, and it was only
Yes,
a 24-hour turnaround time from when I told you, "I don't think this is gonna work at all," because, it was going to, actually, the money we were going to get wasn't, enough to begin with, and it was going to tie things up to where we would not have access to it for a while, and I thought, "This is not going to work for our situation," and the very next day, you came back and said, "Hey, I've got another loan for you. It's not HECM. It's a private loan through private lender." There we go. And when you gave me the numbers and told me that the amount would be available for us at the close of the escrow, I thought, go for it, because I literally was didn't know what else we were going to do. And I know that I didn't have many choices, but when you came back and gave us that information, hallelujah, because that changed the game.
absolutely. You know, this is a thing that most people do not understand, but you have different versions of the reverse mortgage, and that's what people call it. The FHA HECM, which is a home equity conversion, mortgage conversion, and then you have conversion mortgage, and then you have the choice loans. And the choice loans, they are with more private investors, but the guidelines are still the exact same as FHA guidelines. We have to adhere to even more standards now, and to make sure that it's right. Because like you said earlier, 20, 25 years ago, people were being taken advantage of, but the government is locked down on that so much. Then, as you know, you got to make calls, you got to go to counseling, you got to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of. And when I looked into the choice product, it just so happened that they just had a rate change, and it was just on one product, and that
Wow.
product got us the amount that you were looking for, I think, plus a little bit more,
Yes,
and
plus
it was
many more.
plus more, right? Okay, so way more. And it was so flexible. And we had to get a couple of exceptions, but we did it. And we worked very hard. And I appreciate you allowing me to, and all of us actually, to really work on your behalf. I take, like I said, we take pride into these transactions, especially for our senior citizens. And I wanted to make sure that we did our best to make this work for you. Even if you want me to hack them, it still would have stopped the payments. You just pay the property tax insurance.
Mhm.
But we were gung ho to see if we can get more money back in your pocket to
Yes.
just allow you to breathe easier. And that's what we're
Yes.
able to do. I appreciate you for that.
Yes, when you mentioned about the counseling, I thought that would help also to change my husband's opinion because he honestly did not know anything about reverse mortgages. And when we were told that you have to do counseling, I thought that was, I really appreciated that because this way you know what you were getting into, you know the pros, you know the cons. And what I told my husband is that let's look at everything. Let's see where we are. And honestly, there are more pros than cons. And I didn't see any other, as I said, any other way for us to do this. Matter of fact, we had to do a second counseling session because we were going with a choice loan.
Oh,
And
the
I
heck 'em
remember,
first.
yeah, we did the Heckham one first, and then we had to do the choice as we were getting further along with the process. And when my husband came home just in time, the first one he was on the phone driving home from work. The second counseling session, I said, I want you to make sure that you are here when it starts. He got here, and then because he just arrived, he had things to do, so he kind of moved around. Our counselor asked us questions, and when she called out his name, and I said, "Oh, he stepped away for a moment," and she said, "Well, we'll have to stop until he is back in the room so he can hear all of this." And that, for me, I was very grateful for because it made him sit down, listen, understand, take notes. They even quiz you. And there was one thing I remember her saying to my husband, and she says, "So, even if you are upside down with your home, let's say that the value of your home is worth less than what you owe, this would be years down the road, of course, would you still have to pay anything?" And my husband said, "No." And she says, "Right. You can go and live your life." That that was wonderful.
That was. I'm pretty sure that sold it for him. He said, I can live my life.
Yes,
Man,
yes, yes.
we talked, well, what was it, last week? You gave me a call, I believe it was on Friday. And you touched my heart by calling me and saying thank you. Again, that really did touch me because you told me the story, just how freeing this process has made you guys. And then you told me that you also got a surprise for your husband. You got a chance to do what for him?
Buy him a car.
Buy him a car. That's what
He
you
was
guys were able to
driving
do.
an old pickup truck that had almost 300,000 miles on it. A few months ago, he was working on that truck frantically because it kept breaking down. Work was getting very demanding. He was working on his truck on the weekends, and it I could tell this was just too much for him. He barely could make our mortgage payments every month, plus take care of everything else. And then he had to worry about his vehicle perhaps breaking down. Actually, it did break down one time on his way to work. And I told myself that if we get this done, the very first thing we're going to do is buy him a new car. And once we did take care of everything, and he told me what kind of car he wanted, a Subaru, but I couldn't get him to look go online, have a look. I couldn't get him to do that. So I thought I'm going to take matters into my own hands again. And I called CarMax. I made an appointment, selected a couple of cars online for us to test drive, went in the next day, and this is after our loan was approved and we received our money. Went in the next day, we test drove a couple of cars, and before we left the lot, we knew that one of the cars was going to be it. The very next day, came back, we were able to pay cash, and he drove off with his beautiful vehicle.
See, again, I told you before, but you're the reason why I enjoy my job. You really are. You give me the experience to help I should say, to enjoy what you guys are telling me and live that experience through you guys. And you said this was his first brand new car, correct?
That's what he said. It's his
Wow.
very first car. He bought me a new car. He bought me a beautiful Volvo, um, and he was fine to drive the pickup truck. But as I said, once this truck started having problems, I just thought he deserves better. And when he said, "Yeah, this is my first car," I can't tell you, I don't even want to, I will get teary-eyed when I think of the blessings that have happened all from this experience. It's amazing. And the process, you guys just kept coming back. Hey, we need this document, we need that. And honestly, through the process, it almost seemed overwhelming at times, but I know there's the finish line here, and I just need to get to it. So I just kept trying to provide all the information that you needed. And by the time it got to the title company, a lot of I kept looking every day, checking to see is there anything else they need. There were a few documents that they needed, but a bulk of it had already been done because you guys did the groundwork and you had us send everything that we needed to send. We even had an issue where something that my husband thought he had was not taken care of, and we would not have known had it not been for the process of the reverse mortgage. So he was able to
Yes.
take care of that, and that was a big relief too. But yeah, you guys just kept coming at us, Linnell. I need this, I need that, and she was always very kind, very professional, and she actually made me feel good. I like working with people who I know I feel care. If you don't care, why should I bother? I can go elsewhere. I just need to know that you care about our situation, and it just makes the process a lot easier because you can actually, I mean, I talk to you guys, it feels like you're friends. And once everything was said and done and escrow closed, and I thought, "Oh, okay. I'm not gonna be talking to these folks anymore." And it I just wanna say that as difficult as it might have been, the stress level and trying to provide certain documents that we had to really dig for, what was beautiful was that it still went through seamlessly, and I could tell on your end, you guys were working like crazy to make it happen for us, and that I appreciate.
Oh, no, I appreciate you. There are a lot of things that are on the back end that we did not bother you with.
And, that's what I appreciate because all I had to do was provide what you were asking for. I tell you, TR, after it all was said and done, that's when I decided to call you, I had time to take a breath and to just, because I was very stressed through this whole process, but yet I know that there was gonna be a good outcome. But then I had time to just take a breath. I told her now, I literally cried when all of it was over. I
Mm.
just cried because there was just so much involved and there was so much worry. And I just want to let people know that if you tried other pathways and other things have not worked for you, and you want to have that feeling of freedom, especially if you love your home and you want to be in your home, this is truly the way to go. And I know this sounds silly, it sounds corny. I was talking to my dad the other day, and he says, "Well, you know that, that commercial with Tom Selleck, the old Magnum PI guy?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well," he says, "You know, you've spent all this time, dealing with your home and everything. Now it's time for your home to work for you." And I'm like, "Good God." Our home has been good to us, but this time now it's like working for us.
I first of all, I appreciate what you just said. A lot of people needed to hear what you had to say because I talk to people almost on a daily basis regarding reverse mortgages, FHA Hackems, and they have such a stigma to them and a fear. And I always explain to them, I said, I know that happened 30 years ago. That's not
Yes,
happening today, and it's not going to happen with us. I mean,
yeah,
again, I told you, I have several different licenses. there's not enough money that you can pay me to do somebody bad or dirty. My kids
Yeah.
depend on me for a living, right? But I understand people's hesitations. And according to what you're saying, the experience was smooth. Did you feel like you were pressured at any point in time during this process from us?
No, I did not feel pressure. And that's the other thing I want to bring up is that, as I said in the beginning of this interview, some of my stress level came from who is going to be the right person to help me with this because I was worried about getting the wrong broker. That was my biggest fear. I knew that if I could conquer that, get on board with and feel comfortable with the right place, that everything else will follow through. And that is what I want to say to you is that from the moment I started talking to Linnell and then speaking to you, you guys just felt so professional, so legit, so professional, and very qualified for what you do. And that gave me the peace of mind. So if there's any pressure, it's just that, hey, we need this document so we can push this through. And that kind of pressure we needed because then we had to go and find whatever it is that would help take care and get this loan done. So that's probably the only pressure there was, just feeling comfortable with you guys and knowing how and I told you this, you guys are so professional, so together, but I felt like there's a heart there. And the two of that combination, and the reason why I kept harping on that, TR, is because, and you probably know this, people like myself who are dealing with this, it's such and I said this to Linnell, I have done several refis on our home, and this is nothing compared to the refis that I have done. This is something totally different. That alone takes a great deal of stress because it is going in a different direction where you're not paying down the mortgage. It's going in reverse. And I think that's what scares people. It scared me, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. I remember asking my dad, okay, you've done a reverse mortgage. What was the percentage and what was this and what was that? And he's like, I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. All I know is that I have my home. I don't have to pay mortgage. And all we have to worry about is property tax, insurance, and keep the house up. And he's like, I'm good. So,
Exactly. Smart guy.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
would like to make one correction. This one of the things I tell people when I first sit down with them on a reverse mortgage is this. It gives you flexibility because technically, if you want to, you can pay the interest on this every month so it doesn't grow. You can
right.
pay the interest and principal like a regular monthly payment if you want to actually pay it down. Or you don't have to pay any of that and just pay the property taxes, insurance, and live your life. But you have those three options.
That is true.
If you
Yes,
okay,
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was looking at the materials too, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Ruel about it. But we do have options. We can pay the interest on that, or the interest and principal, however we want to do it. As you said, not pay anything at all. So that there is flexibility, and it's
yes,
that flexibility that allows that feeling of freedom because it's your choice of which way you want to go.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, I do truly appreciate you taking the time to come by. I want to say thank you, Linnell, Miss Linnell Holden, the mortgage genie. She is a phenomenal loan officer. And I'm actually very blessed to have a great team that we put together, right? Starting with Linnell, we have our processing manager, Sherry. We have our escrow, which is Carol, insurance with Rolly. I love what I do, and I love the people I've assembled around me to help facilitate this business. And when I get stories like yourselves, it really, like I said, it touches me because I've been doing this a long time. Sometimes it's like day in and day out, but when you get somebody like yourself, like Rael, and you can say, "Hey, this is how you have touched me, I'll truly love that. So thank you so much.
You're
Okay.
welcome, and I'm glad you brought up Linnell's name because, as I said, she was phenomenal, and eh, I owe a lot to both of you, and my thank you goes not just to the two of you, but to your entire team. It really does.
Thank you.
This is the proof of the pudding is where I am today. If you saw me 2 months ago when all this began, you would have been talking to a totally different person.
Oh, I did talk to a totally different person over the phone 2 months ago. You came at me and said, "Hey, I want you to know this, 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 and this." I'm like, "Okay, I hear you. I hear you."
That's true. That's very, very true. Yeah.
And I said, I told
Uh,
you back then, I let you get it all out. I says, "We're going to work very hard for you. This is what I do.
yeah.
I can't promise you anything." I said, "But
You
go ahead."
put your money where your mouth is. You really, I mean, that's what I could tell is that you guys really delivered. And when you mentioned about your team, you mentioned Rolly. That was another issue that we had. We found out that our insurance had to be a little bit. That's another thing. We did not know until this process that we did not have enough insurance for our home. And living in
Very true.
California after the fires in LA, um, to find that out, I could not believe it. My insurance company did not mention anything about it to us. I was defiant when Linnell said, "Let me hook you up with somebody," and I'm like, "No, no, we're great with ours." But when I called our past insurance company, they could not provide what we needed, what the lender needed. So I took Linnell up on her suggestion, and I called Rolly, who is part of your team, for insurance. And I can't tell you, matter of fact, I called her afterwards and told her how comfortable he made me feel. And he says, as soon as I looked at all your information, he said, he said the same thing. You guys don't have enough insurance. God forbid, should something happen, fire, what have you, you would not be able to rebuild. Now we have all the insurance that we need. And this would not also have been possible if we didn't go through this. So little things
Absolutely.
popped up here and there. I don't want to say little, very important things popped up during this process that Roel and I would not have known about had this not happened. I praise God because thank you, again for all that you guys have done. Because look at all the different things that popped up that we did not know about. That's the other reason why I feel so good. There are multiple reasons. I may not be able to get them all out. After this is all said and done, this video, I'll think, oh shoot, there's something else I could have brought
You
up.
can always come back and express it.
Well, thank you. But there are just so many different things that happen that seem unbearable at the time. But we got through it. We took care of each and every one of them and then gave you everything that you guys needed.
You did.
So we have that freedom now. There's something to be said when you actually have some money in the bank and you are relieved of certain obligations that you've known for many, many years. It just frees you. It just makes you,
Mm.
it makes life good.
That's awesome. I will respect your time. I'm going to say again, thank you. I would also ask if you know anyone in your situation that wants to go through this process and is looking for a good broker, to please do
Yes.
not hesitate but to refer them over to us.
I most definitely will. I most
Yeah.
definitely will, because I never know who I might run across.
Yeah, you
And
know.
some of the folks I know are, around our age, my Roel and myself, my husband Roel. And yes, I would definitely recommend you guys. Yes. Just thank you again. Thank you to your entire team for
Thank you.
working with us, helping us out, seeing it through, and delivering, better than I could have hoped for. I'm sorry that Linnell wasn't able to be here because I wanted to give a big thank you to her also because she's awesome, absolutely awesome.
She is. She really is. She is a wonderful, wonderful person, first of all, mother,
Yeah,
friend. She's a wonderful
hard
loan
worker.
officer. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
She just got back in town from doing some training out of town, but out of state.
Every time I've talked to her, she's busy doing something, or
Mhm.
taking more training or trying to, better herself than she is already, and I applaud her for that.
Yes, ma'am. I truly appreciate you stopping by. And
Uh,
tell Roel, thank him as well, because he also had to make the decision to move forward in this process. And we just
yes,
appreciate both of you guys.
yes, and I'm so glad that, it turned out the way that it did, and I will let him know.
Thank you. Thank you. And don't forget, we talked on last Friday. And the last thing I told you was just because the deal is over doesn't
Yeah.
mean you can't still stay in contact because now you are family.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you so much. I appreciate that, and if I
All right.
have any questions or whatever, I will give you guys a call.
Thank you. All right. This has been one of the most rewarding deals for me. Okay. To be able to help somebody who truly appreciates the hard work and effort that we put in, but to also give a person the ability to live their life. For me, that's something that's amazing. I can't duplicate that in any other way except for what I do right here. So, again, if you are out there and you're struggling and you're saying, I don't know what I'm going to do, give us a call. Myself, my team will walk you through the process and we will give you a plan of action that you can take to solidify your future as well. If it can be done, we can do it. Okay. So if you need a reverse mortgage, or you're looking to build an ADU in your backyard, you're looking to pull some cash out to send your kid to college,
Mhm.
whatever you need to do with real estate, whether it's commercial or residential, give us a call today. Stop procrastinating. Let us help you get what you need done. Thank you for tuning in. And this is TR McCarthy, aka TR the Loan Guy, mortgage broker for Sceptre Mortgage, and I'm signing off. Have a great day.